So I guess a good place for us to start, for me and Jake to start, would to get probably a better understanding of ResMed. Like I know what ResMed does, and quite familiar with it. Have a lot of family that uses ResMed, so we know what the products are. But it's just from, I guess, the lay of the land. I guess there's like we spoke a bit about a bit of a global spread. So what that looks like, if there's any sort of existing rewards or benefits in place that you're currently doing for your employees, what you're trying to achieve with something like this, and how we can kind of align those goals for you with a platform like this. So can I kind of throw that over to you?
Yeah, of course, of course. So yes, we are a global organization, and our employee strength is roughly 7,000 plus, and we are still growing.
Yeah.
And our main operations, or the main hubs, I would say, of course, San Diego is where we are headquartered.
Yep.
And we have a presence in the US, Canada, Australia, Singapore, Malaysia, Germany, UK, and France, where you would see majority of our workforce.
Yep.
And of course, we do have presence in most of the EMEA, APAC, and like even the LATAM, side of the world, Latin America.
Yeah.
So we have our presence, like you can name a country and we have our presence. Of course, in some parts of, in few countries, the headcount is not very significant.
Sure.
Like if you're looking at, say, Thailand, Taiwan,
Yeah.
maybe roughly you can, just a handful of employees, right? Sales employees.
Yeah.
Typically. So, and then talking about the kind of workforce that we have in place, we have our engineering groups to people in the manufacturing plant.
Yep.
So typically all our production operators to the manufacturing engineers and so on. So that's one stream, but predominantly, like it's the engineering population that you will see.
Yep, sure.
And then we have all our medical affairs and legal and people function, all the support functions, the corporate functions, so to say. And then we have our customer service groups.
Sure.
So just from a workforce, because when you think about recognition, it also means does that resonate with the kind of the job that they are doing?
Absolutely.
So just keeping that in mind, is why I'm probably quoting this. Yeah. And we also have quite a bit of contingent workers or contractors, but probably I don't think if we were to go down the path of deploying a recognition platform, it may, at least to start with, it will be predominantly regular employees and fixed term employees that we have in our organization.
Yep.
So that's how the demographics and the type of workforce that we have at ResMed.
How much of that workforce sits in Australia?
Sorry?
How much of that workforce sits in Australia?
So I would say we have roughly 2,500 employees. Yeah. So
that's a big chunk out of 7,500.
Employees based in Australia, yes.
Yeah. Okay. It's a large number. Considering 7,500. So did you say that the UK and France hold the lion's share of that? The UK across Europe? Or was it San Diego?
We have significant presence across UK, Germany, and France.
Okay. Yep. UK, Germany, and France. So after, I guess, the lion's share would be San Diego, is that right, as the HQ?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I just thought that might be the case.
And then we have remote workforce as well. So that's the 7,000, of course, with all the changes in the working environment, remote workforce is kind of something that we have also started. We used to, and it's just that it's gotten more now in the current scenario.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay. Well, COVID changes the scope of everything, right? So you just have to do what you have to do. So I completely understand that. So how are you, I guess, as a company right now, how are you dealing with rewards, recognition, benefiting? How does that look for ResMed today?
So, I mean, I'll just start with the basics. Of course,
Sure.
when you say rewards, I think the definition itself varies across companies, across countries.
Yep.
Because for us, reward means anything that falls under the compensation and benefits space.
Sure.
And that's being dealt by my team, and of course the broader team that sits within Total Rewards.
Yep.
I report into the VP of Total Rewards. His name is Johnny Powell. And so just going back to your question, so for us, rewards would mean comp and ben in ResMed's context.
Sure.
And recognition, to be very honest, has been like nobody's baby at the moment.
Okay, got you.
It's been more like, there's very staggered approach, fragmented approach, however you want to put it as, but every country has its own, legacy practices that they have been following, they continue to, and it's always been on the radar that, oh, come on, somebody pick up recognition, or come on, somebody do something about recognition and try and have, a recognition platform. I'm quite passionate about it, irrespective of whether it falls under reward or doesn't fall under reward. I just feel like, people who are very close to, understanding how recognition platform can be embedded in our, internal people platform. Like for us, it's Workday.
Yeah.
So, all that lens is pretty much kind of something that a comp person would know better than anybody else. And the other team that would probably be closest to this could be the people shared services team. But again, the back-end configuration and what is the, even to kind of understand how your platform works and how it can integrate into our platform, I think that lens could probably be best brought by a reward person. So anyway, so this is something that I've taken up to kind of see and explore. I've been in conversations, I can't remember the name of the vendor at the back of my mind because it was early in the year. And to be very honest, it's been like, okay, people are doing their own thing in the respective countries. We have gift cards, for example, in Australia, which is a lot of logistics at the moment, has a added cost as well. And, just getting those cards and then it's about, it's about getting it to the recipient. Yeah. So that's like just an example of, the way recognition is kind of operating at this point in time. So we started having conversation, then there were, other priority projects, then this takes a backseat. Yeah, so it's been on and off, and with the COVID situation, of course, you can imagine, if companies can prioritize this amongst the n number of other things. So that's basically been the situation, and I'm kind of, but at the same time, I'm keeping the conversation going. I have quotes from two or three other vendors. I've just kept it on hold. Like I've got the understanding of how that platform works, etc., and I've kind of kept it. Now I need to bundle this up and take it to the senior management and say, okay, hey, one, do you have the appetite to kind of get a platform like this? While everybody's intent is to get one, but then it's about someone then going with a cost quote. Absolutely. Talking about it. So that's where currently it is at. So I don't know if this helps. Massively.
Okay. So no,
any vendor that I'm talking to, I'm just kind of mindful that it's a platform or it's a tool that can be deployed globally, and it's not very specific to a country, because the day we deploy this, I'm sure it requires integration into our Workday, and I don't know what that means at this point in time. But the day we got to integrate, we can't be solutioning it for one country and then figure out some other vendor for another country.
Yeah, no. Completely, it completely makes sense. So and you will encounter a few hurdles with any company that you come across. And the reason why that will be is because you have, I guess you've got a presence in every location, right? I'm going to apologize because my gardener's just shown up out of the blue, so you might hear some noise in the background. So the difficulty that you're going to encounter is that, and you'll see what I mean by what you'll see today. The solutions that we provide although about 80 to 90% of them cover across everything, across any country, every country. You will notice though that some of the experiences will be very tailored and very niche for a specific country. And what do I mean by that is things like entertainment and dining. So entertainment and dining, you know, again, we are expanding our operations and expanding our portfolio all the time, globally and locally. Because strangely enough, you know, we have companies that go, oh, we've got, you know, workers that sit in Dubbo, right? What kind of presence do you have in Dubbo, right? So, you know, that's a very kind of small circle. What you're talking about is a global presence. So, you know, what we try and do is find solutions as best as we can on a global spread. And then we also try and overlay that with a secondary, more targeted solution across the board for country-wise, right? So at the moment, we're actually in we're literally in the moment of integrating with things for the US and the UK and across APAC as well. So there might be some tailoring that we might need to do for you for EMEA and those sorts of areas. It might also, well, EMEA is actually one of our targets already, but it might be for Latin America maybe, might be need some targeting, and we can do that. That's not a difficulty, but you will encounter that as a hurdle with any company, right? Because especially during COVID, you can imagine what happened to dining, right? So some places open, some places closed. So that would be, I guess, the overarching umbrella with the comment that I would make. But again, our solution is designed to be holistic. So there's two kind of areas that we want to talk about, and one is personal solutions and professional solutions. Now, you know, within the suite of employees that you have, you know, you've got everything from engineering, you know, to you know, sleep specialists, to technicians, to et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, what we do, and one of our strengths, is actually tailoring the platform to meet your needs. So, you know, if you want a solution that's specifically targeted or is a benefit for a niche group of your employees, let's just say engineers, for example, we will find a solution that's for them, right? And we'll bring that into your platform so it's universally capable to be utilized by them. So there's a few key areas that we look at from a recognition and rewards perspective. The things that you mentioned was compensation and benefits. Now, again, those two things tie in really well from the recognition side as well. So compensation, obviously, that comes from a budgetary internal environment through ResMed. So, you know, obviously, you know, someone does a great job. How do we compensate them for overworking or doing that? So we kind of tie that in with the recognition. Now ResMed might want to do this over and above what we have. It just depends on the systems and the processes that ResMed has. But we work very closely with you to make sure that we're aligning those goals, those attributes, and those requirements that you need of our platform to be what it is. So what I will do, more than talking too much, we'll show you the platform, and then we'll circle back to some of the points. And then what we can do is discuss a little bit more about what that implementation process looks like and how you would like to roll that out. And is that going to be a gradual rollout? Is that just going to be plonking it across the globe? We can have a bit of a conversation around that and what I would suggest would be the best rollout plan as well. So I'm going to throw it over to Jake, and Jake can start sort of presenting. I'm going to mute myself so you don't hear the lawnmower. And Jake, I'll leave it in your hands, my friend.